everybody. Welcome to the Wow Being Hub. This is a brand new studio, so make yourselves at home. I'm really excited that you could all be here today. This is our first episode in a series that we're going to be doing here at the Trafford Centre. And we're starting today with a subject really close to my heart. We're talking about the fitness industry, and we want to talk about some of the barriers that many people will face when accessing the fitness industry and how we can overcome them so it can become a part of our everyday life in a way that suits us. And I'm really excited to say that I am joined by two legends and experts in this field. First of all, I want to introduce Millie Pickles. She's a para-athlete, content creator, and disability advocate. And I'm also really honoured to be joined by Eryn Barber, who is a strength and conditioning coach and personal trainer. So, as you can tell from that introduction, I'm in very good company, and I'm probably going to learn a lot myself today, which today is all about us sharing information and empowering one another and hopefully picking up some new tips and advice along the way. So before we start our discussion, I'm going to hand over to you ladies to talk a little bit about yourself and why you are so passionate about being here today.
Yeah, so for me, I've always been really sporty, but I had an accident 6 years ago and I ended up losing my leg. And my journey back to fitness was definitely not linear. I had to re-enter the gym in a wheelchair. I also got a binge eating disorder, so I was not exercising very much and I was struggling a lot. And I have really gone on that journey and I've got a lot better, and I just recently completed the London Marathon. And I also have done the Red Bull 400, which is the world's toughest 400-meter race with an incline of 78 degrees.
Wow,
yeah,
oh my goodness.
It was mental. So, yeah, it's definitely been a journey. So I'm super excited to chat about women in sport today.
Fantastic.
I've been a personal trainer for 8 years now. And a big part of my job is mainly coaching women of all ages, of all backgrounds. And I've seen how effective sport and exercise can be for women's mental and physical health. So for me, I just love helping people and helping people realize how incredible like going to the gym and fitness and exercise can be, just not just in terms of performance, but just helping you in everyday life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so fascinating because I suppose, you know, there's some really obvious things here that we know we should all exercise. We know it makes us feel better. And there's so many different platforms now where we can get free advice, free tutorials. But the reason that we decided to discuss this today was born from some research that has come in recently. And I want to share that research with you because it really got me thinking about my past as a young girl going into sort of adulthood and becoming a woman. So it was a recent study that was conducted, and it told us that 45% of girls quit sport by the age of 14, and that is due to low body confidence. And I thought, yeah, that's around about the time when you're at secondary school and things are getting more academic, you've chosen your options, you're preparing for your GCSEs, and maybe PE is no longer a compulsory subject. And then some more data. This was carried out in 2022. This comes from Nuffield Health. They questioned over 8,000 women, and it revealed that just under 50% of women haven't done any vigorous weekly exercise in the last year. And 1 in 7 women say that they've actually completely stopped exercising altogether. And I know you both have, you know, very different experiences and you're experts in different fields, but when you hear that kind of statistic and that kind of data, why do you think that is?
Do you want to go?
No, go on, you go.
It doesn't really surprise me because I don't think there are much opportunities for us to continue on with sport. Like, for me, I used to do netball and I loved lacrosse, and then I just didn't do that after school. And I was always wanting to join the gym, but I was so nervous to do that. And it takes a lot of confidence to finally pluck up the courage to go and do something. And I did that. I joined the gym, and then the very next day I had an accident and lost my leg. So I felt even more scared to re-enter the gym after that, being in a wheelchair. So I think there are a lot of pressures for us as women to do sports that we don't know much about, and it's just really daunting for us to even enter that space when there's not much education there.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because when you think about, well, what did we learn about the gym, say, when we were younger? Well, I know my PE at school was like pants and vest and run around the hall.
Yeah.
There was no weightlifting, there was no gym. And I think, yeah, like you said, it was a sport. It was hockey or it was netball. And then as soon as I could stop it, I did.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sporty as an adult, I definitely wasn't sporty as a child.
Yeah, and like when you go to school and you do PE, you learn a skill and you learn a skill set of how to play netball, how to play those positions. You are never taught how to lift a weight in the gym. You're never taught how to squat. You're never taught how to deadlift. And so how can we expect anyone to just step into a gym and know exactly what they're doing? Like, it's no wonder that not even just women, but anyone is going to be afraid to step into the gym because you lose that mentor. You lose, unless you're willing to pay for a personal trainer or go to a class, you lose that experience of having someone to coach you. And so maybe it is something that we need to think about in terms of the education system, teaching people how to do these core movements, because if you want the nation to be more active, you can't expect them to go from doing one thing to another, and there's no gap. We need to bridge this gap.
Yeah. It's really interesting you say that, because I think we've all experienced walking into a gym thinking, I don't know what any of this stuff does. You try and do something, you pull the key out the weight, it goes slam down, and you think, oh no, I've broken it. And you just try to navigate it yourself. But that's someone's actual job. That's your job. Like, you're educated in it and you empower others to do that. And we wouldn't walk into the dentist and pick up the drill and have a go. And like,
literally.
So why do we do it at the gym? And then if we do go and we don't know what we're doing, we get a bit disheartened and we feel like it's not for us. But really, it can be for everyone of all abilities. But one negative trip can sort of put you off for life, you know?
I think even just taking that step to go into the gym is huge. And I think as well, I used to be so scared of going to a PT in the gym and being like, oh, how do I do this exercise? Because I felt like everyone was staring at me. And then I just decided one day to stop doing that and just go and ask for help, because that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
And they're so accommodating, and it's so helpful because it really builds your confidence. So if you can't pay for a PT, just go and ask the people that are available in the gym for some help. And it really does make a difference.
I totally relate to what you're saying, because weirdly, I used to think of a gym as like, well, I can't go because I'm unfit or I don't look like everyone else. And it's like, you don't blow dry your hair to go to the hairdressers. You don't need to be fit to go to a gym. And actually, there's like this preconceived idea that you won't fit in. And, you talked about your situation, which I suppose for many people, it's an extreme thing, what happened to you.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, before you had that accident, were you a gym bunny? Did you go to the gym all the time?
Definitely not.
Oh, really?
I was so scared to go. My friends would always go and they'd be like, you coming? And I'd be like, no, that's for you. I was just so petrified. And it's crazy because if I actually started when I wanted to, I would have been a pro by the time that I actually joined. And yeah, I just joined the day before my accident and I went to a class and I was so proud of myself. And then my accident was totally unrelated to the gym, but I felt like I was cursed. I was like, brilliant. So to re-enter in a wheelchair, it was scary, but I just thought, I'm always going to be scared, and the only way to get over it is if I just go and do it every day.
Yeah.
And my dream was to just become a gym girl and one day feel confident, because to me that was what a gym girl is, feeling confident and not worrying about what other people are thinking of me.
Yeah.
And I just remember one day I went into the gym and I felt that, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a gym girl.
Yeah, that's a great feeling though. It must have been like very empowering to feel like you got there, but you're by yourself, by being consistent and by showing up.
Yeah, I'm very proud of myself. But that's what it takes, just keep showing up, doing it for your future self.
Yeah, it's interesting. You touched on your intro when you were talking about your life experiences of, some barriers of also having an eating disorder. And that's something that some people can't necessarily see, or maybe they won't understand, and that actually fitness and nutrition, we know they go hand in hand, but we don't always understand why and the complexities of that. Did that make it extra hard to navigate?
Yeah, I'd say so. I found that I would be working out, and then because I'd worked out, I can eat more, and I'd be hiding food and shoving it, loads of it down my gob. And it was just hard for me to then go into the gym because I got really big, and it's weird, I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself because my leg had gone. I lost half of my hair due to trauma, and then I looked different in size. But I just thought, I just need to look after my future self, and I need to just keep showing up. And I wore baggy tees because that helped me. I felt confident because I couldn't see my body. And sometimes that's what you just need to do. It gets you through the door.
Yeah.
And if you just do what works for you now, then one day you will just be in a sports bra.
Yeah.
It's just having those little steps to help you achieve it rather than just run away from exercising at all.
Yeah. Eryn, do you feel like how we're showing up looks different? Because, you know, I'm 40, so my kind of memories as a young woman was like in the 90s, where really in the fitness industry, particularly like for clothing and gym wear, one type of man or woman showed up on those websites. And I feel like actually now diversity has changed for the better. It may not be fully there, but do you feel that you've seen that in clients and the sort of people that are coming to you that now feel more welcomed in that space?
Yeah, so I think that traditionally, especially in terms of like the way the fitness industry was, it was all about bodybuilding. So if people went to the gym, it was to go and be a bodybuilder, to do that style of training, to get as big as you can, take steroids. And I think in the last 10 years or so, that's really changed. And people don't think that if you go to the gym, it's only to step on a stage with like an 8-pack and a spray tan. And thank God, because like that's not for me. And so what's been really beautiful, I think, is obviously I've stepped into this space when these things are already changing, but more and more, when I first started, it would be women coming to me saying, I really want to lose weight, I'm going on holiday in 8 weeks, I want to drop a stone, I want to, the big one was, because it was Kardashian
drop a stone
era.
in 8 weeks?
Yeah, no. The big thing was, it was like the Kardashian era, so it was, I want a really big bum and I want a tiny waist.
Yeah.
And so it's just really beautiful to see now that women are coming and instead they're saying to me, I want to get stronger. I'm not bothered about losing weight. If I lose a bit of weight on top of this, that's great. But for me, I want to be able to get up and down the stairs without getting out of breath. I want to be able to carry my food shopping on my own without getting tired. Like, for example, I have a client who's in her 70s, and it's something as small as saying, I can pick up a full kettle of water and tip it into a cup, which we're taking for granted.
Quality of life.
Yeah,
Really
exactly,
is.
being younger.
Yeah.
And we don't even think that there'll be a time where we can't pour a cup of tea from a full kettle.
Yeah.
And for her to be able to say, I don't even have to ask my children that to pour the tea for me, I can do that on my own.
Yeah.
It's a really big step. And so
It's independence.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see that we're shifting our perspective from fitness being all about looking really good, and it's fine if that's what you want, there's no problem with that, but to actually just thinking, you know what, if I get fitter, it's really going to improve my quality of life as well.
And just to hear that you've got a female client that's 70 and she's coming to you and she's showing up, like I find that very motivating to hear that. And I think not all the time, but sometimes I get that little nagging voice where I go to the gym looking like a boiled egg. Like I don't do any, because I always go to the gym before my shower. I don't shower to go. So I get up really early and I have no makeup, hair slicked back. I do all my workout and then I shower and go to work and kind of I'm a bit of a Clark Kent. I just transform, and then it's all good. But most of the time I've only got an hour, so I don't actually worry about what anyone else is doing. I get on with it. But sometimes I worry like, are people looking at me? Do I fit in? Should I have actually possibly put on some mascara so I don't look like a mole? You know. From a professional point of view, what are people really thinking of you in the gym? What is really good? If we could hear the internal narrative, what do you think?
Everyone's too busy looking at themselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
To even look at anybody else. No one is ever... The only reason that I, as a professional, would be looking at someone is if I thought they were going to injure themselves in the gym.
Yeah.
And then I am never, ever judging anyone else in the gym.
Yeah.
And I think this is where maybe we need to see, like you were saying before, we're getting... more diversity in terms of clothing brands.
Yeah.
I think in terms of all different areas of fitness, we need to see more diversity, because you want to see on those gym posters women and people of all different ages, abilities, ethnicities on the posters, because if you can see yourself there, then you will be more likely to join in. If you're just seeing the same type of person on that gym poster, on that advert, you might not think that's a space for you.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to be more inclusive. We need to see ourselves. It's like that whole, you want a Barbie doll for different types of people. You want to be able to see yourself in the gym to think that you can do that.
Yeah. I feel like for you, Millie, you're a trailblazer where actually, I don't know, I could be wrong, but you probably didn't feel seen, but you carried on regardless and became what you couldn't see for others.
Yeah, that's exactly it. wanted to find me, I was searching for people like me, and there was no one.
Yeah.
And so I accidentally started doing social media. I didn't actually mean to. My first video blew up, and I was like, what the hell?
Oh, wow.
So that's when I realised,
What was the first video?
I don't know if anyone remembers, but in lockdown, there was a flexibility challenge with markers.
Oh,
and people were.
I do remember that, yeah.
And I was like, not flexible, but I do have a leg that I can take off my body. So it
was humour. Yeah.
Everyone was like, you're cheating. And I was like, still did it though.
Yeah.
So that just blew up. And then I just went with it. And then
Yeah.
I found my people. And I'm so glad that I did. Because it really does show what I'm able to do. And I think that's incredible because it made me feel seen and included. And it makes such a big difference in your confidence.
And not taking yourself too seriously. Like sometimes the fitness space can feel like, you know, is it professional and you shouldn't have a laugh at yourself. And it's almost like being a bit self-deprecating.
I was literally saying earlier to Eryn that I'm going to buy a bike tomorrow.
Right.
And I literally can't ride a bike, but I just think it's important to just try different sports and see what you like. And I think I've just done running and I've done the gym, and it's just good to trial different things. And if you've not found a sport that you love, just have fun with it. Just be a learner. It's okay to be new at something. It's exciting.
Do you think some of the negative sort of memories we attach to when we were more active, say at school or college, whenever it was, do you think that's because things were forced upon us? I remember at my school, like the girls had to wear a skirt or a skirt for netball and for hockey, and I would have rather have worn trousers because that was just my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And particularly, you know, if you wanted to sit out of PE because you were on your period, you had to get a note that was read by the male PE teacher. And then also, like, as we get older, you know, this lack of knowledge, like we know statistically women's health is underfunded. We've only really just started talking about menopause, perimenopause, endometriosis, polycystic ovaries. It's all underfunded. Like we get this message from society that women's health isn't important. And I think when we think about being on our period around sport, the blanket advice is like, just don't exercise, don't do anything, find a lavender pillow and just shut the door. And it's like, and really like that's as far as it goes. And like, actually, are we wrong? Because if we're feeling dreadful, you know, some of the research here shows that 52% of us are happier when we exercise, 48% are more confident, 67% are less stressed. Well, it's our most unhappy, unconfident, stressful time of the month, but we're told to do nothing.
Yeah, and I feel like there's already enough narratives trying to portray women as the weaker sex. So we don't need people then telling us that at a certain time every month something's going to make us even weaker. And at the moment, the research is actually showing that women are no weaker during their period on the menstrual cycle. Yes, so at the moment, there's nothing to show that it affects us negatively. That doesn't mean to say that the way you feel during a menstrual cycle means that you can't train different. Like, I usually don't train on the first day because I just sit and watch like Friends for 6 hours or something if I have to.
Yeah.
But I think we do need to sort of get rid of that narrative that women are weaker and that they should really like look after themselves and stay in bed, because we are strong. Like, we can do these things. I did the marathon on my period and I didn't want to do it.
Really?
And that happened that month, but this month I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to sort of like break away from that idea, that limiting belief sort of idea that we can't do things at certain times. And yes, it's hard, and yes, it feels horrible, and I completely understand that, but you just need to listen to your body. Like, sometimes you'll feel horrible, and sometimes you won't want to do those things, but sometimes you might have to push through. And that can come in various different forms. That doesn't mean you have to do a grueling workout when you're on your period. That might be you opt for a nice walk, a gentle walk, or you do some yoga. Like, you'll be amazed at, like, how much intuition you've got about your own body and how much your body will tell you what you need. So if you hit your period 1 month and you feel all right and you've got a lot of rage from those hormones, you know what, hitting the gym might feel great. But if you've got severe stomach cramps, or you have got something like endometriosis or fibroids, it might be that you just have to look after yourself. You have to take it for a walk. And so just, I'd say, try to break away from everything that's going on social media and people telling you to do certain workouts at certain times and people telling you can and can't do these things.
Yeah.
And just kind of like go within and listen to what your body's telling you.
It's interesting because I heard of a book called Period Manual Book, and in that book it says about your 4 stages of your cycle.
Yeah.
And you should do exactly you should do yoga. You should be doing certain exercises for each
Oh,
cycle.
really? Is
And
that
it's
true?
not,
then?
yeah, and
No.
there is no evidence. Like, there's
Yeah.
been
So
there's
interesting.
absolutely no. I'm sorry, this is my pet peeve. Like, this is a real
Yeah.
thing at the moment. There is no evidence at the moment to say that you should do a specific type of exercise at a specific time in your cycle. One of the best things you can do is track your cycle.
Okay.
So the best thing you could probably do is track your cycle, whether that's
I don't even know what wheelie bin to put out on what day. I need to sort out the green and the blue and the black bin before I've got to track my periods. You're right.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
yeah, and like you don't have to do this, but like if you just kind of make note of how you're feeling at different
Yeah.
points, it's just something as basic
so
as that.
helpful, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Then you'll know
Yeah.
you can then forgive yourself if you feel rubbish at one point. You're like, why do I feel this way? Well, you felt this way every month
Yeah.
for the last like 6 months, and so you know. And that's probably the best way for you to work out what works best for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sat here
Yeah.
thinking like shame on me because I'm 40. So I'll probably take this advice in about a month because when someone tells me to do something, I think they're right and then I don't do it. A couple months later I'll do it. And then I'll be like, oh, I'm now menopausal. Never mind, they've gone. It's like we get all this information and it's like really we should take things on board, especially from people who've been there and done that and understand it. And I feel like sometimes as women we carry a lot of shame of, you know, when you think around your menstrual cycle, there's worries about we need to wear dark colours. Will we have a leak? Will we have a different body odour? Maybe once we give birth and have children, will we suffer from incontinence when we're doing certain exercises? And it's like, is there a certain uniform? Is there a certain way you've got to present and things you've got to wear? You know, if you're having to adapt through your ability or your appearance has changed, there's this whole other layer that we worry about how we present to the world.
Do you know what? I saw that Japan, they have a gym where you can go in, you can wear your own clothes if you want, but there are clothes that they provide, so everybody is
really?
in their same top and same shorts.
That's interesting.
And I think it's incredible because
Yeah.
it takes out the worry, because if you're going to work, you don't have to think about what you're wearing and taking things with you, but also everyone looks the same, no one's judging each other, you just feel a lot more comfortable. Like, I would love that.
Yeah, I think that's quite clever, isn't it? Because it takes away like the comparison because it's all uniform.
Yeah.
I guess the psychology of why you wear a school uniform because it removes that layer.
Yeah.
Save money as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about women-only spaces for exercise, or maybe gyms that are specifically for disabled people? Is this a solution and like we've cracked it, or is it othering people and like segregating them in a way that adds to that? Well, I'm not like you, you know.
It's interesting because I think women-only gyms, that could be really empowering, because I know it's daunting to be around the men sometimes, and they're doing all these big weights and you feel scared. So that's empowering. But then also, like for me, I think if I were to just go to a disabled gym, again, that's empowering and that's incredible. But I would want the gyms to represent society, and I want everybody and disabled people to come together.
Yeah.
But it's quite difficult in gyms because they are built for able-bodied people.
Yeah.
Disabled people are at a disadvantage. And like, even if you have dwarfism, you can't do a leg extension machine because you can't reach it.
Right.
And like with me, there's exercises and machines that I can't use. And so I think it's empowering, but personally I prefer it to be combined, and not because I would feel othered.
Just like society is,
Yeah.
inclusive and
Yeah.
kind, and yeah. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like that. Like you
Yeah.
said about
Yeah.
society. Like, it's easy for me to say because I feel comfortable in a gym environment.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel like
Yeah.
I can speak for everyone else. I've worked in a gym for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I can step into a gym and it's like it's my comfort zone. It feels
Yeah.
better than walking into most places. So it's hard for me to put myself in a position to say that everyone should just be able to be in the gym, because that's fine for me.
Yeah.
And so I think that having spaces for women separate is really, really handy, because for some people, they might never ever go to the gym unless there's that space.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're even talking in terms of religions.
Yeah,
And culturally, there'll be people that won't be able to train with men around. So we're giving other people opportunities to exercise
Yeah.
that may never have had those before.
Yeah.
And so it's coming from a privileged position to be able to say, no,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great if everyone could train together, but we can't. And so I think it is really good that we've started to create these spaces and think about other people. And then for the people that then maybe will build the confidence to step into a gym where we can all share the space, that's great. But for some people who that might never change, at least they still have the opportunity to do the gym work.
That's so true, even just having the option. Because if I think back to when I first entered the gym in a wheelchair, I would have probably felt much more confident going to a disabled-only gym.
Right, okay.
And then I might have transferred to then go into a combination gym of able-bodied people and disabled people.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Having that option is good.
I think that's a really interesting point, because I think on an even broader scale, it's like the transition you went through kind of reminds me that how you feel isn't all how you'll always feel, and you can enter a new sport or a new hobby feeling one way, but it's not a fixed thing.
No.
And we're talking about hobbies and sports. Well, here you are now, an actual athlete, which is like majority of us will never get there, and you may have felt like that too. And even like I'm thinking like you're a PT. We put you on a pedestal, like, well, it's easy for them, or they've been born this way. But do athletes and PTs ever just think, I just want to eat crisps on the sofa, I can't be bothered?
Every day.
Oh my God, I
Oh, really? Okay.
Every day.
I took it on the way here, some Tony's chocolonely.
Oh,
I was
really?
like, oh,
okay,
yeah,
that's good to
definitely.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you ever not be asked?
Every day.
Good.
And I think
Yeah.
sometimes people assume that it's because we love it, and I do love it.
Yeah.
But I still wake up most days and can't be bothered, and that's the thing that makes it hard, is to be able to push through. Like we were talking about before, me and one of my best friends, we signed up for a pole class at the gym a few years ago. This was like when I was training to be a personal trainer.
Yeah.
We went to the first one, we loved it, we were like, this is great. Next time, we both sat in the car for 15 minutes and just sat there and
Procrastinating.
talked, and we just
Yeah.
turned around and drove back home.
Yeah.
And then we used to go to the gym and we used to drive there. We'd get in one of the other person's car, we'd chat for a bit, and they'd be like, should we just go home then? And we do it. So it happens to everyone. It does. And everyone has bad days. It's
funny because I like to gaslight myself. So
Right.
it's a tactic that I use when I really can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to go work out. And now I've accepted that. That's fine. But I will put on my gym wear just in case.
This
And I
is
put on the
me.
gym wear and I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I kind of like my outfit. Maybe I'll just go to the gym and go on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Get to the treadmill. And I'm like, oh, I kind of feel like doing the weights now.
Yeah.
And I just gaslight myself into thinking that I'm not going to do it. And before you know it, I finished the workout.
Yeah, that's quite incredible though, because then you're still getting that outcome,
Yeah.
aren't you? Because for me, I put the gym wear on at the start of the day. Then all that gets done is like the school run. I go to the post office. I go to the co-op, and then I'm like, I'm in extreme running gear to just run a couple of errands. Like,
But they don't know that. So
no,
it's
that's
okay.
true. Yeah, semi show up. What about the fact then, we like the research has showed us it makes us feel more confident, it makes us feel more happy. Like, I'm married to kids now, but when I was single, I think also for me, I felt like I sort of hoped to meet someone at the gym. I hoped to widen my network. I didn't want to go somewhere that was like a bar with alcohol. It was quite funny because I'd always be at the gym with my headphones on, and someone would tap me, and I'd be like, oh, they're going to talk to me. I'd be like, yeah. And it'd be like, your top's inside out. I'd be like, all right, okay, thanks. But, can it be a place for new beginnings, whether that's like social or romantic, or even if you never speak to anyone, but your whole day's at home on Zoom doing a corporate job, just being around people even if you never talk to them?
Yeah, I noticed. I moved into a flat of my own last year in January, and I noticed I actually got really lonely.
Yeah.
And I went to my gym, and just being around people, even if I didn't speak to anyone, I felt so much better for it.
Yeah.
And it gave me more of a purpose, because I work by myself. It can get really lonely, and I just found it as such a good outlet. And then I made friends, and then I felt more comfortable to speak to PTs and ask them for help. And it just became like part of my routine and made me so unbelievably happy.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. And like even run clubs these days are the new dating life.
Yeah.
You can message people on Strava now.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a new place to be.
I can't think of anything worse than having to speak whilst running. I can just about stay alive whilst running. I'm just like,
out of breath, and you're like, wait.
yeah.
Yeah, and also I just think like it's important that, like you said, you used to like going out drinking and socialising, but not everyone wants to do that, and that's a really good way to meet people who enjoy and share the same things as you.
Yeah.
Because there'll be so many of us that will have gone through like university and everyone was drinking and that was the life, and then you've maybe thought, you know what, I don't want to do that, but then you might not sort of get on with those friends anymore because they're still in that life that you're not in. And so the gym and sort of like these communities of fitness can be a really good way to just sort of, I don't want to be dead cheesy and say find your tribe, because I don't mean it like that, but
Yeah.
find people that have a similar interest to you.
Yeah.
That maybe like you didn't have, like you said, people change.
Yeah.
And I think as an adult it is hard to make friends now, especially in this age post-COVID where we're so isolated.
And our technology heads
Yeah,
down.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, we were talking about online and in-person training. That's why I love my job as a coach, because for some people, I'm the only person they see all day.
That happens to me sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so for them, that's just like 1 hour of interaction that you might think isn't anything, but that's them having a conversation that they won't have spoken to anybody else for the rest of the day.
So what is the gym etiquette then? Because like when I knew I was doing this podcast with you two, I thought one of the promises I want to make from this is like, I am sporty. I go running with my two neighbours and we have a good old gossip. We don't check the time. We just go for a 5K to like clear our head and enjoy it. I go to the gym and I enjoy it, but I'm not very bold. So like things like if I go with my husband and he wants a machine and someone's on it, he marches over and he's like, "Excuse me, mate, are you nearly finished?" And I'm like, I'd rather skip the entire section of that workout than ask someone if they're nearly finished on the gym thing. And then if I'm checking my phone in between sets, I'm worried I'm holding someone else up. So I would like to be more bold and more assertive in the gym. But is there an etiquette? Like, can you go up and talk to people or should you not? If someone's doing something wrong, should you tell them, or is that patronising?
Do you know what I find funny? I agree, I'm the same. I find it hard to go up to people and be like, "How long have you got left?"
Yeah.
But my boyfriend will go over and be like, "Can I hop in?"
And
then he starts doing exercises with other people.
I
I'm
shrivel
like,
and die.
Yeah, I will die. But if you think about it, that's a good way to make a friend.
Yeah.
Because then you're doing it naturally, you're doing the workout together, you're not annoying them. And I just think it's a great way. So I definitely need to be more bold as well.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think you should definitely do it. Like, why put yourself out for somebody else? Like, and honestly, most people at the gym, like in life, are friendly and willing to help. So you can only ask. Then there's a very slim chance someone's going to turn around and swear at you and like tell you to back off. Imagine, like,
I'm going to text you next week and be like, "Wow, you never guessed what happened."
Yeah, God for life.
Guess who's got a black eye?
And like the people at the gym, most people want to help each other out. It's a very friendly environment. Like everyone's there to be a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
And so people are willing to help you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just put your weights back afterwards. The only thing I'll say is, if someone's put a weights machine on a certain way and you change it, make sure you pop it back to what they had it on.
Okay, I didn't think about that.
That's just quite a nice, friendly thing to do.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Getting all the tips.
So we're kind of coming to the end of our chat, but I was just thinking, you know, for people that have come here live today, or perhaps they're finding the podcast from streaming it and listening to it, and they thought, "Do you know what? This is me." Like, fitness did used to have a place in my life, whether it was school, childhood, whether they used to play in a team, or, you know, when the kids were younger, they would dog walk with the kids. But for some reason, it's dried up and they've lost it. And they want to start again. And, you know, it's not an aspiration to become an athlete, or it's not an aspiration to be pro and be a PT, but they want to start. And there's something crippling them, whether it's anxiety, whether it's whatever it is. Like, do you have some kind of key takeaways or tips for them to, you know, getting started or re-engaging again?
For me, I just think baby steps. Just focus on each day and think, what's one thing I can do today that gives me more activity, whether that's a 10-minute walk, then maybe each day build that up. Or if you want to go to the gym, just enter the gym, sign up, and then you can go home. And then the next day, you go into the gym and you say, "I'm going to do this today." And just slowly build that up because it feels more manageable. And if you really want to, I mean, I've invested a lot in coaches because it's really got me to where I am and it's given me the confidence. So if you can, invest in a coach because I think they're incredible. But just do what feels manageable to you because we're all different. And if you focus on yourself and just, a little bit each day, you'll see major progression long term.
Yeah, I think that's really encouraging and remembering that, you know, the comparison is never helpful, is it? It just delays your own personal progress.
Yeah, you against you.
Yeah, that's a good one. You against you. I like that. Yeah.
I would say that one of the biggest things is it's really hard starting anything new as an adult, and especially on your own. So always try and bring a friend.
Yeah.
Like, exercise is about community. Even
Yeah.
if you want to join a team and your friend isn't bothered, just ask them to come with you once.
Yeah.
Because if they can come with you that one time and you've built the confidence to go and do it that one time, they can step away and you'll probably have made friends.
Yeah.
So just try and make it a community-based thing. And one other thing I'll say is just take it easy and try and have some fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's really easy to take yourself too seriously in the gym, to take yourself too seriously when you're doing exercise.
Yeah.
People get things wrong all the time. People make mistakes. Think about when you were a child. You were never afraid of falling over in the playground or like missing the ball at rounds or something. So don't be afraid to do it now, because
Yeah.
like you're not going to have any fun if you can't just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, they're getting that childlike innocence back about it's okay to sort of fail and carry on. Like, that's
Yeah.
the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I
love
think
that.
for me, I had a time in my life where I sort of felt quite shy, and I wanted to get fitter and get healthier, but it just felt impossible to try and go to somewhere that was like a communal space. So I started running. I was never a runner. I wasn't good at it, but I ran because I felt like, well, if I feel people are looking at me, I can just run off. You know, it felt like an isolated sport where I wouldn't have to like make a lot of eye contact. And then that became my isolated solo sport, and it was a good place for me for like mental health. Then as I got good at it and got basically cocky and was like, I can do this, I seeked out community, and I did park run, and I joined a running club where I lived in London. And then it became like such a group activity for me where I would chat to other people, get other work friends to come along. So that I had the same sport each time, but it was able to look different for me in different ways. And now I'm doing a race tomorrow with a couple of friends, and it's never left me, even though my requirements and my confidence has changed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it feels like a free activity running, but I suppose what you've both shown as well is that if you've got different financial capabilities, you can access stuff online, you can access stuff in a community, you can do it. I know a lot of your content, you get content for free and replicate that. So I suppose if there's also a financial barrier, there's ways of finding
Around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And like, you won't know it, but a lot of councils offer free classes and
didn't know that.
free like sort of support groups and things like that, and walking clubs. And like, YouTube has everything now. You don't even need me.
Yeah.
YouTube has everything.
She's putting herself
Yeah, I
out
know.
there.
Sorry. Yeah. And so like, we're in this amazing world now where you could literally learn anything and everything for free. So just take advantage of that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that leads me nicely to for you to not forget that actually, if you want to re-watch this podcast or you want to listen to it again, it will be on YouTube or wherever you normally get your podcasts. And if you want to join us for more podcasts on different topics, then all you've got to do is head to the Trafford Centre website. You can register your interest, or you can follow at the Trafford Centre on Instagram to find out about more details of future episodes. I just want to thank you both so much for joining me today. I feel like I've learnt so much. I've had a really good laugh as well. And I'm thinking maybe I won't go home and watch Netflix tonight. Maybe I might, take the dog out and go and get a few more steps in and enjoy it, because that's what I've really taken from this.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
as
thank you
well.
very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for coming as well.
Thank you.
Right.